Yes, Montreal, my city. Welcome back. It's the Morning Detour. I'm your host, Weezy Mo Chaser. Now, y'all know every week we have celebrities on the show. This brother right here, I'm bringing to the stage. I call him the Blades of Glory. He is the LeBron James of figure skating. Let me tell you this: his unconventional routine for figure skating has garnered him 16 million. Yes, people, 16 million TikTok views, 13 million Instagram views. I can barely get 1,000. I'm bringing to the stage. I call him the true life Blades of Glory. Elladj Baldé. How you doing, King?
I'm good, brother. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, man. I've been seeing you doing the rounds. You're an instant star. You got the magical smile. You have the great personality. But how did we get here? You're a Montreal-born figure skater. You're also you're half black, half Russian, correct?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Russia. So I was born in Moscow.
What?
Yeah. So I surprised people.
Are you dropping the bombs on us in the morning? You were born in Moscow?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So I was born in Moscow. My dad and my mom, they met in Russia because my dad studied university there. And he's from Guinea, West Africa. More specifically Tombon, which is a small village in Guinea. But anyway, so he went to Russia, they met there. I was born in Moscow, and then we immigrated to Montreal when I was 2 years old. So fairly young, I was basically born in Montreal. You can say it like that. But yeah, the figure skating came to me through my mom. So my mom was a figure skater when she was in Russia as a young teenager, and she was very passionate about the sport. And so she introduced me to the sport at the age of 6, and I enjoyed it at the beginning because it was playful, it was fun, but then it got serious very quickly. Within 6 months of learning how to skate, I was already competing. And at that point, I tried everything not to skate anymore, man. I hid my skates in my closet. I told my mom I lost my skates. I lost them not on purpose, but I lost them many times. And yeah, so I did everything not to skate for the longest time. But obviously the passion grew on me, and now I live from it. I live of it, and it's what I love to do.
Well, let me tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing that you're doing it because you're breaking social barriers. You're breaking a lot of people's preconceived notions about figure skating, about who should represent the thing. But let me try back a little bit to when you started figure skating. Was it hard to initially learn it? Because a lot of people know I'm a fan of figure skating as well. Because I always appreciate people that can do things I can't do. I can't do a triple axel. I can't do the backflip on the ice. You know what I mean? So when you first started to learn the figure skating, was it really challenging, or did you feel, because your mom did have a background in it, was it in your blood? Did you have it from jump, or did you really have to get better at it?
Yeah, so I would say that I was good at it right away. And what I mean by that is that the first time I stepped onto the ice, I remember my mom trying to teach me how to spin. And I was already able to, spin on 2 feet, kind of in a pretty, with pretty fast rotation for a 6-year-old. So, I started and I was fairly good, but again, I started competing right away within 6 months. And so obviously I was dead last at most of my first competitions because I didn't have the same experience as some of the other kids had. But I was very talented, and it did come naturally to me. I was, by the age of 10, 11, I was doing, triple jumps and jumps that kids my age at the time didn't do. So that's when I kind of started seeing the potential. I started seeing that, I had, there's something to do with this, and I could potentially be successful. So that's when I started diving really into it and giving my energy and wanting to be, a champion.
Oh, listen, you're well on your way. So a couple of weeks ago, I stumbled upon this video of this guy doing this really wild figure skating routine. Then I looked down, and it's this guy named Baldé from Montreal. It was you! So I was like, yo, who is this guy? And how is he doing all these moves? Now, everybody's been ranting and raving across the country, across the nation about your unconventional figure skating routine. I guess this is like some comparable to like Steph Curry, how he warms up with all these trick shots. you do a comparison of that, but on ice. So walk me through. Has this always been something that you do as a routine for figure skating, or this is something that you came about in most recent years?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I started really developing in the more recently, because I speak a lot about skating being a box or a mold that you kind of have to fit in.
Yeah.
And as a young biracial boy in skating, and as a young
Mm.
black boy in skating,
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily fit that box, and so for the longest time, the people that I looked up to and the environment that I was in was very much like a white European elitist
Hmm.
kind of environment. And so, but I tried to conform to that, and I tried to basically at that point, I didn't really embrace the things that were different about me, the things that were unique about me. My curly hair, the style of music that I like to listen to, the ways that I like to move in. At the time, I was very much into breakdance, hip hop.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I was going to be a rapper. Those are the kind of things that I looked up to, and the guys that I looked up to that looked like me, that were successful, that
Right.
were cool. That's kind of what I wanted to be. But then in figure skating, it didn't really it. I
It
didn't
didn't
have the opportunity
translate.
to have
Yeah.
that type of um, it didn't translate. Yeah, it didn't translate to skating. So for the longest time, it was me, kind of conforming to figure skating. And then there was a time where I saw, for the first time in front of me, this incredible, powerful black man skating. And I remember him competing and just being blown away by his style. He was popping on the ice. He was doing things that I'd never seen before, and that's when it kind of sparked, the thought in my mind of wanting to, dive deeper into, how can I create that as well? How can I be
Yeah.
myself when I'm skating? How can I be authentic? That's kind of when the journey started. And then, the last few years of my competitive career, I was really into that, and I was really, I had committed to only skating to the things I want to skate to, and the
Yeah.
ways that I want to do it. And then once I retired from the competitive world, it just became even more free. I had more freedom. I wasn't bound by the rules of competition. So that's when I really started feeling the freedom. And then the last few months have just been have been a
Blades of
reflection of that.
glory. The Blades of glory. He's the rebel on ice. If you're now joining the show, The Morning Detour, I'm Luis Munche. I'm sitting down here with Montreal figure skater. He is now a national celebrity, soon to be worldwide, because this video went everywhere. His unconventional figure skating routine has gotten him 60 million TikTok views, 30 million Instagram views. I'm sitting down here with Elladj Baldé, Montreal figure skater. Speak to me a little bit about the diversity of the culture of figure skating, because you spoke about it a little bit before. It is an ecosystem that's predominantly white, very European. So where did you when you jumped into it? I know you're saying you're trying to conform at first, and now you're trying to do your own thing. Is there a space for you to bring hip hop into figure skating, into your routine? Is there a space for you to bring breakdance moves into figure skating? Have you seen them become more open now that you have garnered this kind of international success right now?
Yeah, I think within the figure skating community, at least within the competitive world, you don't see a lot of that, because you have to you have to please judges. It's a subjective sport. It's adjudicated. You're competing and you're being judged for what you do. And so if the majority of the judges that are out there don't necessarily view a style like hip hop or breakdance or something like that as elite figure skating, then
Yeah.
you're not going to be rewarded for it. So in those ways, there has been a lot of barriers that way. But I want to say the last few years, there have been a few skaters coming out with a few performances here and there that kind of go into that style, and I really took it upon me to do that and commit to that, and it took I would say it took a while for the skating, the international skating community to kind of embrace that. But again, towards the last few years of my career, I started using songs that were, I continued to use songs that were more my style, and I'd start seeing,
Right.
judges kind of like understanding that was a style that, might be different, but that could be good and could be rewarded. But again, it's still very limiting because you don't have time to sit or stand on the ice and do movement and do hip hop dance and do hip hop style movement. You have to be grounded when you do that, and so while you're skating, it's very hard to do. And so since those things are not truly rewarded, it's hard to really express the authenticity, incorporate them in your performances. Exactly. But I will say though that right now, with social media and with the ability of just going out and filming videos and doing that, at least for me, I'm able to express myself in that way, and I think that will inspire the next generation of young skaters, more specifically, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, to really embrace their uniqueness and the things that are different about them, and hopefully that will start changing also the competitive world.
Well, you're definitely gonna be the face of that change. I love to see the figure skating community kind of like, let's update the judges because I'm sure there's a kid somewhere in Manitoba or Calgary, even here in Montreal, Quebec, that saw your video and now they're inspired. So I'm sure there's a whole crop of young BIPOC individuals, even white individuals, that are gonna want to incorporate these kind of things that they saw you do within their figure skating routine. So listen, I love to see the judges get updated. Let's update the sport, because the sport has to evolve. The sport has to evolve. Now,
it has to be modernized. That's for sure.
No, for sure. Well, you're gonna be the face of it. They'll put you on the Kellogg's box. But one thing I like about you is your drive is so deep. You can always tell when someone's passionate about what they do. I know you had an injury out there in 2017, and you could have just quit after the injury. Most people, it's hard to come back from injury because you're afraid that you can sustain the same injury. It's like a mental block sometimes. What led you to come back after your injury in 2017? You could have just hung it up.
Yeah, and the injury in 2017 actually, I was able to apply some of the lessons and the skills that I learned from my very first major injury in 2010, which was a knee surgery. I tore my ACL, and so I had a reconstructed ACL surgery, and that was probably some of the biggest lessons that I learned in my life at that point, because I was at a point where I was literally about to hit peak of my career. I was I had just won the junior national championships. I was I was going into seniors. I had my first year and I was doing well, and internationally I was winning winning medals on the international circuit. So I was on a high, and then this came out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. I was playing football for school and I tore my ACL, so I shouldn't have been doing that. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and I'm extremely grateful for that experience, because it taught me that at that moment when you do have an injury, if you truly want to come back, you have to be in the right state of mind in order for that to happen. And one of the biggest lessons for me was I was starting to get really frustrated and didn't understand why it was happening to me, and I was getting upset and mad and down. But then I had to shift that into a mindset of what can I control? I can't control the situation that I'm in right now. I can't control what happened to me, but there's things that I can control to continue to evolve and to continue to grow as an athlete and as a human being. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to work on all the things that I was able to work on. And to be honest, a lot of those things were my weaknesses. I was a really good jumper and I was really good technically, but I wasn't necessarily good with skating skills. I wasn't a good spinner. My posture wasn't good, and there's a lot of things that I wasn't great at. And so when I was going through that recovery process, I started working on all these things that I was weak at or wasn't as good at. And then 10 months later, when I finally was able to get back on the ice and truly get back into the sport, my jumps were kind of still there, but then all these other things
you finessed it now,
just leveled up, just leveled up. And so that experience really truly for me was like, okay, well, if I take a situation that's a failure
setback.
or difficult, if I take that or yeah, if you want to call it a setback, if I take that and actually like consciously try to grow from it and take something from that to become better as an athlete and better as a human being, then technically it's not a setback. It actually propels me even further. And that's the biggest lesson for me. And so in 2017, that was a little bit of the same mindset. And I had to accept, I had to sit where I was and had to really focus on the things that I could focus on. And that's a lesson that I take for the rest of my life, even outside of skating.
Well, listen, Mr. Blades of Glory, yo, listen, you're a true inspiration. Being a fellow black brother, I'm like, God damn, you're really doing it. So what now? You have this national success. I'll even go as far as say it's international success, because you don't get up to 16 million on TikTok, 30 million on Instagram just by it being national. So what next for you? What would you like to see yourself? I personally see you going to the Olympics. I see yourself representing the culture, the new wave of figure skating. Do you feel somewhat of that pressure now that you have all this national success now?
Well, to just in terms of, my personal career. So I actually retired from the competitive world. 3 years ago.
Okay.
I decided that there was nothing left for me to do there, because again, it's so limiting. Yes, I can inspire the next generation of Black, Indigenous people of color. But I feel like right now, with the platform that I have and the way that I want to do it, I can inspire these kids even more. And I can even, in my own way, I can show that there's a different path as well. It's like, right. Yeah, there's the path of the Olympics, but you can also, be an artist. You can do both. You can be an athlete and an artist. You don't have to just be an athlete. Mm-hmm. And if the path of an athlete is your path, great, follow it and do you. Make sure that you stay authentic to who you are and don't try to conform. Don't try to please others, please judges, please your national sport organization. Just do you and do what's feeling for you, and that's going to be you'll be extremely successful, whatever success means to you. But then there's also the artistic side of things, where you can express yourself. You can use this as a tool to connect with human beings, to share a message, to inspire people. And so that's what I want to continue to do. That's the lane that I'm in right now. And I want to continue to, be that representation in figure skating for young Black boys, for young Black girls, for young Indigenous and people of color, and for them to see me within the sport and believe in themselves that they can do it as well. I think that's where I'm at, and that's my goal, and that's where, that's my vision. That's where I'm going.
Well, listen, man, you seem to have found your purpose. You seem to have found your calling. You know where you're needed. Listen, I think it's necessary. I would love to see more brothers and sisters in figure skating. I'm like, oh my God, we have one. So aside from figure skating, I don't want to wrap up here with you. What do you do for fun besides skating? I know you must have other passions. What do you do for fun?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, I like to keep my body, mind, and spirit in line, and so there's a lot of practices that I use, just for myself, that I'm really passionate about, to continue to explore, just to keep myself balanced and keep myself conscious of my actions and how I operate, in society and in this world. But more importantly, not more importantly, but on another note, just in terms of like, I love playing sports. So, going out, playing hockey or playing basketball, doing that with some friends, is something that I enjoy. I'm a huge gamer. I love gaming.
Yeah. You were a gamer. You gotta look. I said, Waze, he gotta look like he's a gamer. But a lot of gamers don't want to come out and say it right away. I know you have the whole system. You got the chair, don't you? You got the chair, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, I got the whole thing. I knew it. I'm set up.
What I would love to see, Elladj, what I would love to see from you at some point, I would love to see you just go on tour worldwide, and it's just be, kind of how Disney does Disney on Ice. I love to see you just do an artistic show, you and maybe a couple other people, just featuring you, and just go worldwide. for me personally, that's what I see, and just really carrying the culture of figure skating and showing the diversity of how, you know what, we could be black, we could be female, we could be whatever, but we could transcend culture and go into a genre that's not predominantly governed by us. I love to see that for you, and I think that's definitely what's in the works for you.
And that's the plans for sure.
Okay, so last question here. We always ask our guests this. The world is in a bad place, obviously socially, but aside from, I'm talking about more on an environmental level. They've been terraforming Mars. So we've been asking a lot of our celebrity guests, will you be going to Mars, or are you going to stay on Earth and just die off with Earth? But this is a serious question because they are terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
And the morning detour, we've been talking about carving out a continent for ourselves. We're going to call it Marfrica. That'll be for all visible minorities. We'll start our own figure skating, our own hockey team. Just give us a continent to ourselves. Template to Africa, but we're going to call it Marfrica. I would like to know, are you Mr. Blades of Glory? Are you coming to Mars with us? Or are you going to stay on Earth?
Hell, hey, if we can create an environment where people can feel safe to be themselves and people can truly thrive in an environment, I'm all for that. Whether it's Mars, whether it's Earth, that's what I'm down for. But Marfrica sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good to me.
They found a patch of ice, Elladj. They have a patch of ice for you ready to be the first dude to figure skate on Mars. I'm with you. Montreal, my city. I've been sitting with this fabulous. Dude, that's not. I can't wait for this COVID thing to done so we can meet up in person. I would love to do an interview with you on the ice. On the ice with the 2 chairs, with the skates on. Go to your element. Maybe you can show me how to do 1-2 tricks, a little backflip, a triple axel or something. Montreal, my city. I've been sitting down with the fascinated. He's a Montreal figure skater. I call him the Blades of Glory. He is the LeBron James of figure skating. He's the Drake of everything that's moving in the city, in the country. Elladj Baldé, you are a treasure. I appreciate everything you bring into the sport of figure skating. You truly are amazing.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and we'll definitely we'll connect soon for sure.
The Morning Detour on CKUT 90.3 FM.